1, 2, 3.
All right, do it again.
1, 2, 3.
All right.
No,
That's
good enough.
as good as it's going to get. As good as I'm going to get.
All right, ready? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Golden Ratio Podcast. I am Jen, GR Mom, joined once again from a distance by GR Dad.
Hi.
How's it going, GR Dad?
Pretty good. Remote podcast number 2.
I know. I thought you were going to be home on Wednesday, but you're going to be home like late on Thursday.
Yeah.
And that'll be late for podcast.
If I were going to be home tomorrow, I'd be real late, too. I'd be like 2 in the morning.
That's dumb. We wouldn't podcast then.
Doesn't count as Wednesday anymore, technically.
No. Anyway, I miss you. It's been a long time.
Aw, that's nice. I miss you, too.
He adds as an afterthought.
No, looking forward to seeing you again. And
Yeah, it's going to be good.
reuniting the fragmented squad.
I know. It's weird having just 3 dogs. It's so quiet.
What do you think just having 2 dogs is like? It's terrible.
I mean, you have the chaotic ones, though. Well,
They don't trigger.
We'll talk about all of the chaos.
They don't get as chaotic without the other 3.
Yeah. All right. Before we get into all the dog updates, the cocktail of the week, which you can't have, but I drank already.
That's me having it virtually. That's good. I'm good with that. I virtually drank it.
I sent him a picture.
Very.
It's called the Test Pilot. It's a kind of classic tiki cocktail. It has light rum and dark rum, Cointreau, which is an orange liqueur, lime juice, falernum, which is a non-alcoholic syrup with like tiki spices. So it's got kind of like some cinnamon and some vanilla, some lime in there. If you've had like classic tiki cocktails at like Don's Beachcomber bar, like a really classic tiki place, you've had falernum in there.
Don's.
We've been to. There's one in New Orleans that we've been to.
Yeah, that was.
Remember,
That was good.
It was so good that we like skipped the rest of our plans for the evening to just stay there and have drinks and eat food.
It was really good. Plus, I think it was raining a lot.
It was, yeah.
It seemed a little out of place to me because it was so. They committed so much to the Polynesian tiki bit.
Yeah.
And it's in New Orleans. Yes, it was interesting.
I mean, there's other ones, but
sure.
Yeah. Anyway, falernum, real classic in tiki drinks, and so I came across, I think, on Pinterest a twist on this cocktail, which we'll have for a different cocktail of the week. Is that Vink I just heard?
Vink is awfully restless today. She's hearing ghosts, I think.
No. Anyway, that's cocktail of the week. If you'd like to see what I gotta say, not to toot my own horn, but my very excellent picture of it. It will be up on my Instagram, Salt and Glitter.
Your picture is excellent. That is an excellent picture. It will not be as good as the picture of that you twirling in that dress, but that's just a personal preference.
All kinds of GR Mom content over on Salt Glitter on Instagram, including me twirling in a dress.
It's epic.
Yeah. The dress looked real frumpy on me, like the top was all saggy, and I was like, I deserve a better dress in this. But when I twirl in it, I look very fancy. So there's a picture just of the twirl, which was the only good part.
It's a good picture.
That's not true. It's a very nice dress. I'm disappointed it didn't fit, but whatever. I deserve better.
The cocktail looks good without twirling.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It was delish.
Mm-hmm.
I'll make you one when you're back.
I mean, you could tell me anything you wanted. It's hard for me to verify, isn't it? You could have tasted like dishwater, and you'd be like, it was delicious, Ingo. I'm so good at this.
That's true. Yeah.
This is how my mind works. Your mind doesn't work like that at all.
Nope.
I'd
be like, well, this thing I made sucks. Throwing that out. I do that all the time.
I'd be like, it was delicious. It was so good. I threw it out twice. It was great.
All right, let's get to dog updates because there are many. Would you like
some of this might be news to me. I'm like, as usual, last to know.
Well, no, I would like you to begin with the Odyssey of Vink on Saturday.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah, Vink has been restless for her.
Quite.
Where instead of just lying there and sleeping or trying to drink while lying down, the things she usually does, she would sort of wander around and kind of cry a little bit, which kind of breaks my heart.
It's very
and
sad.
didn't really know what to do with herself. And so after that was going on for a few days, and she had no other apparent symptoms, it's not like she's limping or not eating or had a fever or whatever else I could think of that would be something different. She just had this restlessness. I consulted with you, and we decided to bring her into the vet on Saturday. We tried to get an appointment on Friday, right? But the next appointment was Monday, which seemed a long time for her to be unhappy. And so,
Dear Dad, I want to interrupt you briefly that you're getting too far away from your microphone there.
okay.
It's important that we hear your story.
Yes. Hello.
Hi. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
But I didn't want it to be like
That's
far
okay.
away.
So on Saturday morning, she was still whiny, and all I had was an appointment for Monday afternoon at our regular vets. So you and I decided I would bring her into the emergency vet that's open on Saturdays and Sundays and all day and all night.
Yep.
The good one, though, is in Bowie, Maryland, and I'm in Silver Spring, Maryland, so that's about a 30-minute drive, like an honest 30-minute drive. And
We're talking about it, and I was like, Ingo, I know it's at 9:30 in the morning, but I need you to go now because this is often an all-day experience. Like, you'll have to wait a while. They keep them for a while. Like, don't wait. Go now. And you're like, fine.
Yeah, and so I left at 10, got there at 10:40, and then you have to check in virtually. You can only, they don't even answer the phone. You just have to check in online, which is a little unsatisfying if you don't know if you're really in the system or not. And so I checked her in online. About an hour later, I get a call for like the screening questions about, what's her problem? Is she bleeding now? Does she need immediate assistance? Which is good that she didn't, since they waited an hour to call. If she'd been bleeding out, that would have been real bad. And then they're like, well, she's in line. She's next. I was like, oh, that sounds pretty good. She's next. And so I sat there for another 2 hours, and then some guy came out and was like, it's going to be at least another 2 hours. There's been a bunch of emergency cases, and, those have to be seen first. And I was like, yeah, of course. And so he's like, all the vets are busy. And so he said, you guys can go home. We'll just text you when you can bring her in. And I was like, great. So I drove back home. After having had lunch there, and there's like fast food next door and Dunkin' Donuts and stuff, so I wasn't suffering. But so Venk comes back home, and then we just basically hang out until about 6 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we, having not heard anything, you actually called, I think, right?
And I was like, what's up, guys?
Yeah, you were like, I'll mix it up. It won't just be you calling. I'll call. What's up? Yeah, and what'd they tell you?
They said, we'll give you a call back. But they had your number, so then I guess they called you.
They did call back. And said she'll be up soon. And then they did call, and I drove out there. This time Guac came along because why not? Guacaman. And so I don't know, between 7 and 8, it was probably close to 8, I dropped Venk off. They actually took Venk in, and I explained again what the deal was. And then, they basically said it's not worth waiting, go back home.
Yeah, it'll be a while.
Don't call us, we'll call you, kind of thing. Yeah, it'll be a while. So I waited, and then at about 11, maybe I'd called at this point, but then around 11 you called again, or I called again.
I think that 11 is when I called, and I was like, hey, I just want to check on Fink.
That's right.
And then they called you back, and we're like, well, we're checking on this and this.
We'll call you in like half an hour. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was like, oh, the vet's seeing her. I think when I talked to them, they're like, the vet's kind of finishing up and they're going to give you a call soon. And you and I talked, and you were like, well, should I go up there? And I was like, it sounds like they're almost done.
Yeah.
So you could start driving out there. So when they call you, you're there instead of having to wait,
Right.
which you did.
That's right. So I got there about midnight, again with Guac, because Guac's happy to participate. And it turns out the vet was calling not at the end of the appointment to give me the results and to give me the diagnosis, but just to say hello and to have me explain the symptoms to her and what was going on with Vink. So she was a little surprised that I was waiting outside the clinic and said, you can go back home. This is going to take a while. We're going to run tests, and now we're going to do a culture, and now we're going to, check her out. And I was like, okay, well. So I went back home and waited for their call, which they did at about, I think, 3 a.m.
2, I think.
2,
maybe 2:30.
2:30. And then I said, then they had a diagnosis, and it was a UTI. And they actually wanted to scan. They gave her an MRI because they wanted to rule out.
No, an X-ray.
An X-ray.
Or an ultrasound, yeah.
An ultrasound. They wanted to rule out bladder stones, which they did rule out, which was good. And she does have a UTI, so she gets they said we're prescribed her antibiotics. And I said, can I go pick her up now? And they're like, no, wait, we'll call you when the paperwork's ready and when we'll. So half an hour later, they called me and said, yeah, what's your credit card number? And can we, let's do all that. And then you can pick her up. And so I went and picked her up about 3:30 and got home about 4 and went to bed. And then she still wanted to wake up at about 7, but what are you going to do? So it was a short night.
I'm sorry you had to go through that,
but
Dad.
She did have antibiotics. She did get an antibiotic, which I tried to feed her at 4, and she ate, but then she threw up at about 4:15. And I don't know how much of that antibiotic she kept with her, so she may be a little behind on the dosage. But she seems to be doing better, although today she's like seeing ghosts or something. She's barking a lot of nothing, I think.
Yeah. But
this house has different sounds than the one in Florida, and, their neighbors more close, and, who knows, people talking in parking lots. So there's probably a rational explanation for Vink barking.
Vink.
In her head.
Yeah. As we move on to the next item, Dear Dad, I think maybe you should pick up your phone and hold it by your face. I'm just worried that you're going to sound far away.
Okay.
Or I'll slide that thing way closer to your face.
Okay. I'll just hold it.
Okay. So that's Vink.
As I was saying.
And that's Vink.
Yep.
Man, I got to say, it has been really nice here because nobody barks. Because Vink is pretty much always the one to set everybody off.
Yeah, she just gets in her head.
It's Guac.
She was just barking at the TV the other day. Like, there's no dog on television. Venkman, if you can't explain yourself, stop barking.
It's interesting. I'm restraining myself from yelling at her right now to shut her up. Because I'm in the house, I'm typically the one who's like, Vink, stop it. Because, I'm very conscious of not wanting to be that house with the loud dogs since we have so many. So I'm always the one who yells at her first, and she wouldn't hear me if I yelled at her right now.
Nope, she would ignore you if she did hear you. So that's probably fine too. She's not deaf, but she might as well be.
Did we talk? We did talk in the last episode about my apologies to Guaco Man because Chief Brody had stolen the entire loaf of bread and wedge of cheese off the counter.
Yes, the Manchego cheese. Yes.
But then Guac did steal a box of crackers off the counter in Maryland.
Yeah, because Vink couldn't reach the counter. So she's in the clear. There's no other animals around, no foxes. And it was definitely Guac, and then it was definitely Guac. Who it was a whole box of, it was I don't know, delicatessen crackers. Those long, skinny ones that Whole Foods has with a bunch of grains on them. With everything on it. Everything bagel.
Yeah. But
Guac.
Today, I was cleaning up around here, and I had gone into Key West to, do some stuff. And so I picked up lunch for myself from a cafe that we like to go to called The Cafe. And, but it's really big. I get a sandwich and fries, and we can split it and be happy.
Yeah,
for lunch.
It's real dense.
I can force the whole thing down, but I am never happy after I do that. And so I ordered it, and I ate half the fries and half the sandwich, and I was quite full. And I just threw it out the rest of it out when I get home, because like the fries get soggy. That's gross. And the sandwich also, it's lots of veggies, so it also gets kind of soggy. So I just threw them out into the contractor bag that I was using for like random packing stuff and, all the random stuff I'm cleaning up.
Household trash.
It is my habit. I really like filling contractor bags with stuff I clean out.
The really thick plastic, like indestructible plastic ones. I mean, you can jam, probably unsheathed swords in there and they wouldn't, poke out.
Yeah, it's very satisfying.
Yeah.
So I had a contractor bag, only part way full because, one, I've been cleaning for the whole week you've been gone, and, I'm not done. So that was kind of tied around, like, I want to be able to put stuff in it and not have it, like, laying open on the floor. So I kind of knotted the little end part around one of the dining room table chairs just so it would stand up.
Mm-hmm.
And fine. We do this all the time. I mean, pretty much every weekend.
You think it's safe because guac's not there.
Yeah. And so Voods wants to go for a walk. He's so funny. Like, you can tell he's kind of like antsy. So I let him out and I was like, okay, I'm going to finish this one thing, take him for a walk. So I come down with his collar, and he's usually so non-reactive.
He's slow motion.
But he sees me coming with the collar and then starts wagging, which is just like the best, right? I've made Voods so happy.
Yeah.
Take him out for his little walk, and he lays down a couple times and won't come. Fine. I wear my little running pack when I go because it has like the clicker and it's got pockets for all the stuff. And so I had a bag of M&Ms in there, like that I had bought at a gas station at my last run, which I can't give him an M&M.
No.
But it's enough to like
smell,
tempt him.
Oh yeah, no, anything in your hand will get him interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to tell a voodoo walking story when you have a break.
No, go for it.
This is I haven't told the story. I've told you, but like one of the first week or so we had Voods. Maybe 2 weeks. I took him for a walk. After you had been taking him to the end of the block, right? He gets tired. He lies down. That's when we still had to have our pocket full of treats. And you were on a trip. Maybe you were in Maryland for a weekend or something. But I took him for a walk, but I'd forgotten treats. So the whole thing was already ill-fated. And I was trying to keep him very interested also. But we get to the end of the block. We turn around, and he's kind of wandering around near this house that's under construction. And both his front legs go in a deep post hole for a fence post. And the poor guy, I felt terrible because it was like 3 feet deep. So his front feet just went down. And of course he laid down. He's like, I can't deal with this. I'm just going to lay down.
I guess
completely.
We're done.
And I had no treats, and he was still 100 and some pounds, and it was just almost impossible to yank him out, especially because then he was still doing I'm going to be limp now. So trying to pull a limp 100-pound dog out of a whole fence post hole was really hard. And then I had to like fake having treats. Like I think I would, rustle a plastic bag or something, and that got him like 20 feet. And then I tried to run a little bit and make it exciting, and that got him another 20 feet closer to home. And then I think I ended up carrying him the last 40 feet or something, which is also, since he was deciding to be floppy, was a bit of a challenge. But the poor guy just flopped into that fence post, just sort of, this is so...
Like, I live in this hole now.
So awkward. And then, he just gave up completely. He was like, well, I guess this is my life now. I'm in this hole. I hope they bring me food because this is terrible.
I got to say, like, the last week, he really has improved with his, like, coming to the elevator. I ran out of snacks down there because Bahia, the neighbor dog, discovered that we had snacks downstairs. And so she didn't steal them, but she now demands them when she comes over. And so I ran out, but now I'm like, I promise I'll give you one upstairs. And Voods is like, okay. And he galloped into the elevator. He's been doing good. So anyway, I take Voods on this walk. We get home, we take the elevator up, and I walk in, and the contractor bag is ripped up on the floor. There is foil that had been around the sandwich, but no sandwich. And I dig into the bottom of the bag, and there's sort of like an aluminum bin that had the fries in it. You know, it has like a little lid on it normally. I didn't put the lid back on. I just threw the fries in there. No fries. The bin was still there. The fries were gone. And
it wasn't voodoo.
It wasn't foods. And Hops, I went over to Hops, and she just was sleeping, and she just kind of looked at me, and she's like, wag, wag, hi. And then CB starts like creeping over. Also, he has like a giant tum. Like his tum, once again, is giant. So
Yeah, he's really sabotaging his diet.
Yeah, he's been more anxious than normal, not just because you guys are gone, but in general. I think there's something going on with him. So it could just be this UTI that will not go away, but I think he's got like some deeper health problem going on, so we're taking him to the vet.
He and Venk should exchange anxiety thoughts because they're both super wound up. Venk.
Yeah, I mean, they both got peeing problems and then feeling crappy, but I just think there's something going on with him. So we'll see. But anyway, once again, CB betrayed my trust and went into the trash and got a big giant tum.
And he did it at the wrong time again because there was no guac around and no voodoo around to push it on.
Nobody else to blame.
If everyone had been home, CB would have just acted totally innocent and would have had like fries sticking out of his jowls, but would have been acting totally innocent and would have tried to blame it on the other two dogs.
Okay, so in addition to these dogs, we got no other big problems. Hops today, I was out on the beach with her trying to take some pictures of her, and this giant crab, which I have identified as, sometimes they're called I want to say canal clinger. I don't think that's exactly right, but also a West Indian spider crab.
Yeah,
how about that?
It looked like a spider
it's
crab.
The same thing.
That's what I would say.
West Indian spider crab. Is it just different names for the same thing? But like a big crab. It was probably 10, 12 inches across, like leg to leg. Walks up, and she's like, oh my God. And then she's like, I'm going to boop the crab. And she like reaches her little foot out, and the crab fling, like puts his little claw up, and Hops is like, whoa.
Whoa.
Like, and then she's like walking around it, and she kind of like wants to reach out and boop it again, but it's got its claw up, and then she's like making little woof sounds at it. And
but it's fully underwater too. It's not like on the rocks. It's underwater.
No, underwater.
Yeah.
And I was standing in the water, and it didn't give any fucks about me. Like it starts walking towards me. I had to move, or else it would have just walked right over my feet.
Man, that's scary.
It wouldn't have hurt me, but it would have freaked me out a little bit.
That's
like having
a very good reaction.
Sea life crawl on
this
me.
This is what Hops has been worrying about the whole time. She's like, the rocks move. The rocks, they move. They move.
So that was quite exciting for her.
Yeah, I'm glad she didn't get pinched. I think they have pretty good pinching skills.
This guy had a big pincher, so
yeah.
he could have done some snippy damage. Someone said, what would happen if Guac had been there? And I'm like, Guac would have had a snip, snip, snoop.
Yeah, but he might have had a crab in his mouth too. I mean, he might have chomped. He eats rock. I mean, he'll go underwater to eat a rock.
He could have chomped that crab, and the crab would have grabbed onto his lip, and Guac still would have been carrying him around, like very confused about why his lip hurt.
Yeah, that's right. It wouldn't work as a deterrent for Guac because he's not putting two and two together.
No. So that was interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of terrifying. That was a big crab.
It was very big.
Yeah.
And was not at all scared of us. Just doing its own thing.
You know, he's very good at pinching. Very good at pinching.
Yep. So I think that's it for dog updates. You got a German word of the week? My
only addition to the dog update is that there might be some... This might not be a good diet week for these two. I'm just saying. I'm just managing expectations when we weigh them again.
Oh my God!
I think Guac's working on his dad body again, and his dad bod. You know, and Venk is Venk.
And GR Dad is GR Dad. And another meatballs and bonus carrots.
I don't have any meatballs. There are and it's about the normal number of carrots, and all I have is like diet chicken snacks.
That's pretty
So
good.
I think it's because it's not exactly the food that is diet, and I don't have exactly a cup size, so I've been estimating a little bit for Venk. But it's food and green beans. I mean, it shouldn't be too bad, but Venk is looking a little bit more corgi-esque. Yeah. And Guac isn't getting quite as much exercise. All he does run around a lot.
Yeah.
But he's not playing with Voods at all. So who knows?
No, Voods definitely misses his guac playmate.
Yeah. Guac misses everyone. I think he misses you. He always looks at a
I
picture.
miss my big brown
Looks at a
boy.
picture of you in size.
Oh, that's nice. Me too, guac.
Yeah.
Sweet boy.
He's a good boy.
Okay, German word of the week.
Someone suggested Adiletten because they've been looking at the snaps, and it seems like it's the German word for the Adidas slides, those little bathing sandals that Adidas has, where it's just,
Yeah.
I mean, I like them. This is probably typical German because I can wear them with socks, right? If you try to wear flip-flops with socks, it has that weird, like, thing where, you know,
Toe
it pinches
issue.
in between your toes where your socks are, so it looks ridiculous. But the bathing slides I can wear with socks if I have to, which here is more important. In Florida, it's warm enough. I don't need socks. But I ordered a pair for here, so now we have
Oh, that's good.
them all over the place.
I got to say that I am pleased to see you adopting those Adidas slides instead of the flip-flops, which you were wearing with the socks, and I found very upsetting.
See, you are. I mean, that's legit. It's upsetting. It's gross. There's nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing good about
You're
it.
better than that. I'm better than being married to somebody like that.
So yeah, it's progress. Adiletten is what they're called. I think there might be a word for. Yeah, Adiletten is generally and you wear them like in Europe when you go to a swimming pool or a sauna or something. You wear these in the shower.
You do that here.
Oh, I guess that's right. You wear shower sandals or whatever. So these are good for that. Yep, better than flip-flops. So there you go.
I like it. Good. We have Taste of the Keys.
Yeah, the bushfires.
Oh, all right. Well, let me do the quick update on the last one, because last time I was like, oh, there was this big accident on our key, but I don't know what happened because it was like happening right before the podcast. So I haven't dug to see if there's more details, but it's just super sad. So it was a car. There is a 13-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 20-year-old that was just going really fast down this sort of dead-end abandoned road. Based on where they said the accident happened, there's a curve there, and it went off the road, and the roads down here, again, we can't be clear enough about how we live in the middle of the ocean. Like, when the roads end, there's mangroves and salt water. Like, there's not a curb, there's not more land on the shoulder, there's just water.
Yeah.
And so they were going very fast.
They launched,
somehow
right? They
crossed,
just flew.
Yeah, crossed the center line, went down, they say down the embankment, but basically went off the road on the other side, which drops away into the water. And I mean, it's like 1.5 feet deep. It's not deep, but flipped, went through some mangroves, flipped. And it sounds, they didn't give all the details, but it sounds like everyone was ejected from the car.
Oof.
The 13-year-old was a passenger. They said they found her in the passenger seat, so she must have still been in the car, but she died. They airlifted her. She may have been declared dead on the scene. The other two people they airlifted, they had not died last I checked, but they didn't know which one of them was driving, so they must have been ejected. And they brought in dogs and drones to search the water for other people. So, I think they were worried that there must have been ejections, right? If they're searching the water for more passengers, because nobody was conscious when they got there.
Yeah, I was going to say ejections and nobody's conscious to tell them what there is. So they're like, we found 3 bodies. do we, or 3 people, right? Are there more?
Yeah. Is there a fourth one who, just we can't see
Yeah.
because they're in the mangroves or they're underwater?
And it was during the day, during daylight, right?
It was light out. Yeah. So they were just going too fast and, probably lost it at the curve. But it was just one car.
I mean, really too fast. They must have flown a ways.
Yeah. I mean, the speed limit on that road, I think, is 25, which is a reasonable speed limit and sometimes too fast. Because like you mentioned, Ingo, there's a lot of people, biking and running and walking on that road.
Yep.
Because there's almost never any traffic down there. So a ton of people, will train down there. So yeah, you have to go really slow. And there's like the lane, it's a 2-lane road, 1 lane in each direction. But people mostly drive in the middle because they're really narrow lanes. There's never anybody down there.
Right.
But it's not the kind of thing where, there's like a shoulder and all this space. Like it's 2 very narrow lanes.
No, that's
and just water on the sides.
I mean, if you get off the road, you'll probably hook a tire and stay off the road. I mean, it's that kind of setup, right? It's not really designed to pull over and take care of your car.
No, I mean, there's like a few spots by people's houses where it's built up a little bit more, but there's generally not a shoulder. And so yeah, if you lose it, there's nowhere to go except in the water. And it does kind of, because of the tides, you want the road higher than the water level all the time. And so the road is up. And so you would probably flip if you start going over.
Ugh.
So really sad. I'm sorry I don't have like a more interesting update. It's just, poor 13-year-old girl died and 2 other people are in a bad situation. And yeah.
I have 2 other updates.
Yes, you got the
wildfires at the entrance to the Keys. There's like apparently big wildfires on Card Sound Road. So one of the 2 access roads is shut down, which sounds very dramatic. Big smoke clouds and stuff. And then the other one is that people just keep finding drugs in the ocean. There's square
so many
groupers.
Drugs.
I mean, what was it, like hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of drugs in the last 3 days again? I mean, it was just
the cocaine was worth like $1.2 million. Jeez. That was up at Key Largo. And then, so there was these are square groupers they found in the water. Yeah, $1 million worth of cocaine in Key Largo. And then it's at south of Marathon, so basically around the 7 Mile Bridge somewhere, they found like 9 bales of marijuana that I think they said were worth like $100,000. Street value of $100,000.
I mean, I thought this was... I had always kind of thought that there was a heyday to this, and it was in the 90s maybe, right? And it's just been kind of a curiosity since. But this seems like it's a real big business still.
Yeah.
Floating drugs around the Keys.
Maybe people are just getting really bad at picking up their drugs.
maybe all the skilled guys retired, and the new generation just sucks at finding these bales. It's possible. It's possible. But we remain on the lookout. There's still a chance.
I just want money.
Yeah, no, we just, the cash.
All these people.
Cash bail.
Yeah, these people were smart enough to call I don't know, whoever came and got it. They called somebody who came and got the drugs.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't hear about them finding all these bales of cash because they don't report those. If we find a bale of cash, I don't know, there's a big incentive to report it. It's easily turned into, money, unlike drugs, since it is money.
Yeah, well, yes. All right. So I think that's it for this week. Hurry up and come home.
Yeah.
Then I can leave.
That's true. You'll be back by the next podcast, though, so it'll be fine.
I will be. I'll be back on Tuesday morning. So
it'll be good.
Indeed.
Excellent.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining us for this second Over a Distance podcast.
Yeah, if the technology stinks, blame Jen.
That's fine. I'm willing to take that on.
No, it's operator error at my end.
It's all good.
Operator error.
And until next time, Don't bite anyone unless they ask you to.
Yeah, and wear a mask if you.
Bye.
Bye.